22-year-old female, weighing 80 pounds, and I'm quite athletic. I'm tall, and I have a defect in my eyes. One is grey, and one is green. I promise that will be relevant later. This happened when I was 20, and stopped when I was 21. Many strange things have happened to me. I guess I'm just a magnet for weirdness. I met this guy at university when he was finishing, and I was just starting. He was assigned as my study partner. I'm studying to be a pediatrician. I remember thinking he was quite nice in the beginning, but then he started to get jealous whenever I spent time with my boyfriend. This was the first red flag. I always saw him. He was walking some meters behind me. Then, that's when the notes started. They were really sexual, and included things I'm sure I should really not share. I didn't know who it was at first, but in the end, there was about 255 notes in 1 month. The last one actually had names, so I went straight to the office and reported him. I ended up with a different partner. The day I had to tell him I had a new partner, I was about to lose it, then I was sweating bullets. The face he made was pure anger. He started to yell racial slurs at me. I'm a quarter Latin and German. He called me a Nazi and a psycho, and he went on and on. Now, it's typical for people like me to just walk away, and that's exactly what I did. I picked up my books, and I left. I found my friends, and a new study partner, and left. And the only thing I cared about at that time was that he wouldn't find out where my new apartment was, or threaten my friends, family, or relationships. I went home that day with my friends, study partner, and boyfriend, and they were scared for me. Once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up in a bow. Of course, it had to be him. Classic maniac type moves, sending packages. We opened up the package, and inside were pictures of me and notes. The notes explained how he was going to hurt people and how he loved my eyes, along with so many other things that he was going to do to me. The things made me physically sick, and I actually threw up. I stayed home and I called my brother. He was working as a police officer. He advised me to press charges, which I did later that month. Thankfully, he was suspended, and I got a restraining order against him, and for a moment, I finally had a peace of mind. This happened about a year ago. I was living across a mall in a complex with my then boyfriend. My phone was broken, so I had to borrow my friend's phone for the time being. I couldn't go on Facebook or anything other than WhatsApp, but every now and then, I'd get a notification from Facebook that somebody had commented on a photo. And these were not innocent comments at all. It said things like, "You're so pretty, can I have your number?" And "I'm in your church, can we get together sometime?" The person even commented on how he sees me ride my bike to work, and he loves to hear me sing as I go along. I told my then boyfriend and the police about it. I wanted them to do something. He works in security, and he would be able to stop this. But my then boyfriend told me I should just ignore it, and that it would stop. It didn't. Time passed, and I left my ex and lived alone. That's when the real stuff started. The stalker started to comment that he noticed that I was single, and he would like to have my number so that he can get to know me better, and that he'd like to take me to my work. When I didn't answer him, he phoned my work and asked to talk to me. I was lucky to be on my tea break, so they took his name and his number. My best friend, who is now my boyfriend, saw this. He grew super mad and messaged him. He told him that dark forces were protecting me. That night, I got home and I found a letter on my floor. It was pushed underneath my door, saying how he finds me so attractive and giving me his number again and again, asking me to let him give me a ride to work as he lives in the same complex as me. I sent a voice note to my boyfriend while I was in tears. The next day, we went to his job and showed the letter to his boss, and my boyfriend sent a voice note to his boss. His boss played it for him, and only then did he say that he'd leave me alone. I moved in with my now boyfriend, and I haven't heard from the stalker again. This took place when I was 11 or 12 years old. I lived in Florida my entire life, born and raised here, and for the most part, the people are lovely, at least during daylight. The night crowd, however, is far less hospitable, and that's what my story is about. It was around 7 p.m. when my friends asked me if I wanted to go fishing. Excited, I said sure. It sounded like a great time, night fishing with my buddies. This decision, however, was a mistake. After getting our gear into a small red wagon, we set off across the street for our nighttime adventure. We made jokes about gators in the pond, and the fishing itself was a blast. The part where it stops being so great was on our way back home. We took the long route home. The sun had already set, and I was walking slightly ahead of my friends. Let's call them Chris and Tommy. Chris was pulling the wagon, and Tommy was close by him. We were all chatting, and when I turned around to add to the conversation, I noticed a silhouette of a man who was about 40 feet behind us. I was a bit unsettled and surprised. All that was down there was just nothing but fence and grass, and nobody ever took that route. I informed Chris and Tommy that somebody had been following us, but they brushed it off, not believing me at first. I imagined they thought I was trying to scare them or something and make them look behind. I kept on insisting that we were being followed, and they finally got the hint. It was at this point that I realized that the silhouette of the man was around 25 feet behind us. My friend's face grew pale, and suddenly it filled with fear. Then the man, he was running behind us. No, running towards us. I yelled for them to run, and when we looked back, I saw our stalker's face. I'll never forget his face for as long as I live. He was in his mid-40s, of average height, and he had the most terrifying, angry look on his face that I had ever seen. We slipped through a fence and into an unknown neighborhood before pounding on the first door that we found. An older gentleman opened his door and he asked us what was wrong. After telling him our story, he told us to hide behind his car and that he'd find the man and talk to him. He was gone for maybe 7 minutes or so, but it felt like hours. When he finally returned, he explained that the guy had claimed that he saw our wagon and he thought that we had stolen something. The older man didn't seem to believe the guy's story, and luckily, neither did we. We returned home and never told our parents anything. We were so afraid that we'd get in trouble, and if we did, we were never allowed to go night fishing ever again.